Thank you, Mr. Mukasa. And thank you for giving us this opportunity as the National Farmers Leadership Center. Once again, my name is Bosco Okwaja. I am the principal of National Farmers Leadership Center. We are located in the Mpigi district, Kamingo sub-county, and in Muyira or Kampiringisa village. Most of you popularly know it as the famous Kampiringisa, where they used to bring the stubborn children, whereby when you used to misbehave, your parents would always tell you, we shall take you to Kampiringisa. Yes, the Kampiringisa you knew is a juvenile rehabilitation center, or it's like a remand home for the children. The children are rehabilitated and is under Ministry of Gender. And Ministry of Gender is our big partner. They are the ones that gave us the land that we are using where this institution was built. But before I go further, today we are three. I'm with my two deputies. One is present here with me, Deputy Hillman Edson, is the deputy in charge of technical, finance, and administration. And then the second one is Deputy Paul Odao, who's the in charge of mindset change training and ideology. But currently is not here, is in Inali, that is in Chankwanzi. He had a paper he was teaching yesterday, but he had promised to log in today. But if he gets in, he will join. And our presentation, we are going basically to be two people presenting, me and Deputy Hillman. But before I proceed, allow me give Mr. Hillman a chance to introduce himself.
Hello, Mr. Ronnie. Good to catch up with you.
How are you, sir? Nice to see you.
Hello, everyone who is logging in. Yeah, thank you. My name, like you said, is Edson Hillman. I've been working in National Farmers Leadership Center since 2017, and I'm glad to join in. We shall be glad to share our few ideas about the National Farmers Leadership Center, the concepts we are promoting, and how they can be able to support business growth or business recovery, like the theme of today says. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mr. Hillman. I am now going to share my slide or presentation. Mr. Ronald, are you seeing our slides now?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can see them. You can put them in slideshow mode.
Is it okay there? Is it okay?
Perfect.
Yeah, good. So once again, members, it is our first time to participate in this discussion, but basically we looked at the do's and the don'ts, what businesses can learn from the CREA Saemul Undong model. We're talking of CREA Saemul Undong model, and we shall be using the acronym of SMU, because pronouncing these two words are not easy. But when you hear me talking about SMU, briefly, it will be meaning about Saemul Undong what? Model. So that is my name, and those are my contacts, and that is my email. And I think we shall give you the website for the institution. So basically, I will talk about this SMU model. The Saemul Undong word is a Korean, there are two Korean words. And they basically mean the new village movement. This model was tested in Korea. It has worked. Korea has transformed greatly. And where Korea is now, I think we shall need about 30 or 40 years to get there. And yet, in the last 50 years, Korea was almost at the same level with us. And even when I visited Korea, they are having now projects to support countries that supported them during that time when they had a lot of hardship immediately after the Japan War. And Uganda as a country also supported Korea by giving relief. And that's why they are giving back to you. So this Saemul Undong is a movement for better life. A community movement that cultivates a nice village where not only myself, but neighbors can live well. Now, I was noting this, that since we're business people and business-oriented people, I captured something here, that society transformation is very, very important in business. You cannot do business in a community, in a society, or in an area where people are impoverished, where people are very poor, because they will not afford. And that's why you see in Uganda, people are looking for locations. When you want to start a hospital, when you want to start a school, you have to look at the households nearby. What are their income levels? Are they able? But if you don't do that feasibility study, then you are going to establish a business that is going to be a white elephant. And the message that goes to people that are already established in businesses, you should always try to see that the community around you is transforming. People are also getting money so that they can afford the services you're offering to them. Otherwise, it will be wastage of time. And that's what Korea looked at, that the transformation should be for all people, not leaving any person behind. So we are saying Saemul means a new village, and new means basically it should be new and there should be change and development. And we normally talk of a fundamental change. When we talk of a fundamental change, it is irreversible. It is a chemical reaction. When you move from one level to another, it should be permanent. You should not go back. And that's what we term as what? Development. That today, if you're having 10,000, tomorrow it should be 15, another day, 20. And you maintain that gradual process of what? Of developing. And then the village, it will not be only your home. It will not be only your family. It will not be only the area you're living. But look at your community, and then also look at your neighbors. And that is the mindset we have. In Uganda today, people are individual. They are looking at it. They are doing things for themselves, but they are not doing things for community what? Transformation. And that's where our emphasis are really on. That we as a country should find a way of ensuring that everyone really what? Improves. So to give a brief background about this movement, it started in April in 1970. And by then, the president of Korea was President Park Chung-hee. And this man was a military general, but he's the one who popularized this movement. But this movement was started by the local people, the community people. And how they started is when Japan hit them hard, because during that war, they almost lost everything. And when Noales go to Korea, they ask me this question, because we normally ask them that. They tell us in Uganda, we have very good policies, but why is the transformation not moving very fast? And we also reverse the question to them. But what they seem to say is that that war and their weather is the one that has kept them thinking every day on how to improve and how to survive. And what I reflected on my side is that I think partly why we are lazy in Uganda and why we are like this is because everything is almost good. Now we have the security, the weather is good, our soils sometimes even without applying a fertilizer, you might harvest. So our conditions here are not making us to think. And they talked about that one being the beginning of transformation. So there were 10 villages and projects such as these villages, what they were doing without the government intervention, they were doing it on their own. On their own, on their own, like village road expansion, roof and wall improvement, communal well and wash place installation. They build things like bridges and roads on their own. But now when these communities got organized, one day I'm told the president was traversing the country and he saw a very organized village. And then he visited them and asked them, what is the secret behind your transformation and making these villages look very nice like this? Then they brought the news to him and they said, for us here, life became hard. We came together and we said, let's do these things by our own. But for us, this is the opposite in Uganda. For us, every time we are saying government to Yambi, everything we do, it is government. Everything people want government to come in. And yet even these things during our our age, our ancestors used to do this. So the president asked them, what do we need to do now as government to help them? Then for them, they said, now, for us here currently, we are such houses, but we want to improve. So government came up with the proper use, and then don't use properly punished severely. So this
Bwana
is
John,
villagers
we lost you for a second or two there.
Can do
About
spirits.
when
This became a driving force to overcome poverty.
sorry, colleagues, we have lost John, but let's try to get him back on.
Hello, am I back now?
You are back. I think we lost you somewhere there when the president went to the village. So
Yeah,
possibly you'll backtrack a bit.
Okay, it is the network. The network is disturbing, but we are trying our level best.
No worries, no worries.
Okay, so now a quick one. Let me try to be fast. So we are saying these villages developed confidence and they were using this slogan of I can do spirit, people believing in themselves. So even our dear president visited Korea. He had gone to benchmark to see the secrets behind Korea fast transformation, because currently Korea is around the 10th most powerful economy in the world. And for him, he discovered that the secret behind this transformation was the issue of mindset, mindset change. So also he came here and said, if we are to transform our communities, if we are to develop, then we have to look at the aspect of mindset change training. And he said, since our main economic activity in Uganda is agriculture, he came and said, no, let's start an institution that will train farmers on mindset change. And that's how this campaign was established. Now, this SMU, the Saemul Undong, has basically 3 principles. And those are diligence, self-help, and cooperation. And again, I want to request my brothers and sisters, my fellow Ugandans, that these principles, if we stick to them and put them into proper use, we can gain. And most especially those people who have started businesses, they are struggling. Those ones who have started businesses, they are doing well. Or those ones even that are planning to begin. These principles work. And diligence here means that you have to participate in meaningful work with sincereness. You have to be very, very sincere in what you do. You have to be very, very transparent. You have to be accountable. And then the third one, self-help. You have to participate voluntarily, but not depending on others or keep shifting the responsibilities. This one nowadays is so lacking. Even if you have a business, you are employing people, people are not motivated to work on their own. And this is where we really have to focus if you're a manager or if you're a leader of a business. If you find people doing things on their own, you find people going an extra mile to do certain things, then it is good for the business. And then the other one is the aspect of cooperation. We should participate in community growth based on communal spirit, which emphasizes us rather than me. Yes, as people are sacrificing, as they are going an extra mile, we should see everyone doing it. If it is the aspect of time management, all people should report at the place of work on time, but not one person, not two. If one or two people are doing it, then we might not achieve our what? Our goal. So for them, this is what they emphasized. That when it comes to diligence, strong work ethics are very, very important. When it comes to self-help, sense of ownership and responsibility is very, very important. And then cooperation, the sense of community for mutual help is very, very important. That's why you saw currently SMU, by the way, there is SMU Foundation in Uganda, and currently SMU is doing well in the districts of Kayunga, Mpigi, and then Mityana. People are doing lots of things for themselves, like repairing roads without even engaging in the government. So these three principles, I would request that members who are here in the business world, you also look at them and read further. So we tried to look at the do's. Like for example, here we look at these are the methods of work that if an institution is to succeed, if a business is to succeed. And the first thing we normally look at here is leadership and management. And I was told that the people who are logged in here are different professionals. We have teachers, we have doctors, we might be having soldiers. And for us here, we're a mindset institution focusing on agriculture. And we're not an awarding institution. We train people on short courses and they are hands-on. But to me, for example, I normally use my experience. I'm a teacher by profession. And now I'm heading an agriculture institution that trains on mindset change, which is not awarding. But there are so many technical people who are agriculturists here. So what is very, very important if you're doing any business, and if any business is to do well, you might be a director. For example, you might be a director of a school, but you are not a teacher. But the most important thing you should do is to provide leadership and management. And those two simply means is to ensure that everything is moving on well. And then you do not interfere with the work of the technical technical people. Like, for example, here I'm a manager or a leader, but I have to foresee the people, the technical people when they are doing their work. And when these technical people are doing their work, they should be respected because they are the ones who know. And then if they are doing their work well and there are challenges and you are not achieving your goals and targets, then there should be meetings to evaluate. So here we're saying a high level of conscious discipline is very important, whereby in a business, we have to exercise self-control, including financial discipline, training to serve a cause. You should clearly know the cause and your mission in a business. Being truly loyal to who, what you should be. And then it's also very important to be emotionally intelligent, and it is very important for us to manage and invest in our time. Time is a very, very important resource, which when you go to the developed world like Korea, those people, time is not debated. For example, I've visited there for many times, like a week, 4 days. But from the time you're living here, they can put you on your program before even departure. And when you leave and go to that place, you are put in a program. And even when you come, there is evaluation. So for them, one of the success stories about their development is really people developing a culture of managing and investing in what? In time. So this is very, very important. So also things like being knowledgeable. You have to get enough knowledge. Information is very, very important because this one will help you in decision making. Like I've said, you can manage an institution, a school, when you're not a teacher, but doesn't mean that you don't read about education. If you're having a hospital, if you're doing agriculture, you also have to read. And then also you have to keep improving the quality of the people that work in your business. This is very, very important. And then love, respect for duty and work is very, very important. It begins for us here, we say it begins from top management. And it brings us to number 4, leading by example. And love, basically, for us here, the practical thing is, how do you approach the place of work? What time do you report to work? What time do you leave? And when you're at work, are you a happy person? Do you motivate others also to work? And then also be confident without being arrogant. I've observed this one because I taught for so long. Most people, when their business prosper, they become very, very arrogant. And then they begin even despising people who have made the business to reach where that person wants. You now stop listening to the technical person. Even the mission and vision is diverted. Then 6, we have to be creative and innovative. Then we have to set our goals, pursue them patiently and persistently. What I know in the businesses and even these institutions we manage, things are not smooth always. It is not a smooth ride. There will be ups and downs. So you should always insist, so long as you're sure of what you know. But if you begin changing goalposts, changing your objectives, changing your goals, then you might at the end not to achieve. Then respect for your subordinates and those who work with you. Very, very important. In a business, there are people at the gate. There are people who are really doing the work, the technical people. They are cleaners. We should consider everyone to be very, very important. Then think through carefully before deciding or acting. This is very, very important for people who are beginning. You know, nowadays, there are people who are good at just copying and paste. You get a lot of money. You see someone is running a hospital, is running a school, because you have free money, then you also go and invest. It can be okay, but you have to do thorough investigation. You have to do thorough research so that by the time you decide, you already have the plan. And then practice and encourage responsible parenting. Now, this is also very, very important. I normally see people in businesses, but there is a disconnection between the family members. And then also you really see there is no mentorship and coaching. Yet we know that we shall not live for life. So you should always have that thing in mind that if, for example, my life ended, how is this business going to continue? I like the Indian approach that when the father is running a pharmacy or a supermarket, he tries to encourage the family members all to participate. It does not necessarily mean that you are forcing them, but keep them there. If they get better things to do, that is good. But if they pick interest in the business, that is much, much better. And then also I've seen in Africa, we limit ourselves to individuals. That thing of selling shares, if your business is doing well, you want it to be yours. Yeah? You don't want to have other people around you. Yet to be that if you are more than one or two, you can be there, you are the expert, you train the other one. When you age and become old, and when you die, the person you have been coaching, mentoring takes over. And family, this one will ensure continuity of the business. And then also it's very important to know your surrounding and how you relate with those around you. Communities around your business. I will tell you that society transformation is very, very important. The people around your business should see that they are benefiting. Not necessarily the free benefits, but there are things that you can offer the society that lives around your business, because they might be the first enemies to you. And then do not bear grudges, forgive mistakes, and then guide. You don't just forgive and stop there. Should make people understand their weaknesses, where they have gone wrong, and then you guide them, tell them what you expect of them. And then these democratic methods, we have talked of keeping a cool head, respect, and propagating the minority opinion, that in a business, like for example, when you look at number 3, where we're talking about regular meetings, very, very important. And when we're having these meetings, everyone should be given a chance to express him or herself. And then some decisions should be by consensus, you agree. Then the aspect of being transparent is important. Accountability, open discussion, delegation, regular reporting. Then this one here of self and open criticism. If, for example, you're the manager and the owner of the business, the director, has got a challenge, or people have got challenges with you, you should allow them to air them out, and you listen and analyze. And where you see that they were really genuine and positive, you reflect and implement and change. And what you see that they're saying as not correct, please, it is very, very important that you also explain to them that, yeah, what you're saying can be true, but I think in our institution, our business cannot what? Cannot work. So briefly, that's what I had for you. There are also these tendencies to avoid. There is one of sectarianism, and we're saying when you're doing a business, avoid these things of religion, gender, race. Give people work on merit and be liberal. Avoid cheap popularity. This is also very dangerous for our businesses. Then being a dictator is also not good. Intrigue, double talk, and loose talk. This one normally comes from bad clicks. So if you're a manager, if you're owner of the business, when you see the things are cropping in, you should really see how to fight them, to guard against them. Conflict of interest, yes. When a business grows, employ on merit. And they let people compete. If we are to bring relatives here, your immediate family members can come on board, but be very, very careful. And when they come on board, you should also have a keen eye on them to see that they do not over-interfere. Avoid greed and love for soft life. Most people, when the businesses excel, they forget the mission, the vision, and the main objectives why the business was started, and they get diverted. And then also avoid excessive ambition and set realistic what? Targets. And these targets, like we normally say, they should be achievable. If, for example, you see that you're most likely to achieve 50%, then look at 40% in your target, so that when you get the other 10 also, you're within. But you cannot set at 70 or 80, and then tomorrow you're not achieving it. It is also very, very dangerous. So allow me to give my friend also to take us through on the mindset aspect. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you to have me back. I'm very glad, Mr. Ronnie, that you have this platform. And I'm also very glad that people are really hungry for information by the look on the numbers. Now I'm just going to continue with where the principal ended, and I'm going to talk about, as NFLC, what we have learned from the Saemul Undong movement. And I'll go straight. One, what we have learned is that mindset is very important for you to achieve. There maybe you need to change yourself, to change your perception of life. So what is the mindset? In brief, the mindset is actually who you are and how you are made, the experiences you have gone through. So if you are 50, what you have gone through, your experiences form your perception to life, the way you think, the way you behave, the way you take decisions. Maybe one example to push the point home about mindset. You may have heard about this story from WhatsApp of an eagle which hatched with the chicks, because the farmer picked the egg from the bush, and the eagle grew with chicken. But at some level, when they were outside, it saw other eagles flying, but for it was on the ground. And I would have asked why it couldn't fly. But the answer is that this eagle couldn't fly because it thought it was chicken. So even you may think you are a weak man, but you're actually strong. You only need to rediscover yourself. So you have a number of strengths, you are unique in some way, and you have big potential. But for some reason, you fear to do first steps. So discover yourself and discover your potential. You may think you are born to manage a small enterprise, but I can assure you, you can manage a multinational corporation. Depends on how we open your mind. So we have learned that for you to achieve, you have to develop that achiever mindset. You have to think big. And don't stop at dreaming, but dream and do. They tell us that there are so many good ideas which sleep in people's heads, and they end up going to the grave without being implemented. So when you dream, when you have your plan, next thing is action. And in this part of the country, we are very authoritarian. Authoritarian means that we prefer to give instructions than doing the work ourselves. So if you have an enterprise of dairy, go cut the grass and feed the animals. If you want to plant maize, go. Don't send only workers, because the workers don't have the dream. It is you who has. We know a dairy animal requires 60 liters of water every day to be able to give you 40 liters of milk. If you send a worker, he will only give 1 benzori of water or just 2 liters, and your dream will die. Be motivated by success stories. We are very lucky, we are sharing information, and if we opened up discussion, people will tell us good stories. They are everywhere as inspirations. And most importantly, be driven by the desire to serve. We like to make money, we like to make profit, but that's not the driving force. Mr. Mukasa, on one of his visits here, he inspired me through his entrepreneurship talks, that when you are looking for a business to do, forget about the money, but look for what people need. Look for where you can serve, and the money will always follow. Also, under the mindset, we have come to learn that time is the most important function of productivity, because the business people know the word called turnover. You are better off selling 200 kilos of sugar in a day than selling 5. So time. And this comes with the punctuality also. People have lost businesses because they are not punctual. If I make an appointment with you, you come after 3 minutes, then how can I entrust you with something big if you have failed to keep time? Then under mindset, we also need to respect ourselves, rediscover your value and dignity. Wish yourself the best. You have to eat the best. You have to sleep in the best place. But all these come when you have made the resources. But also beyond self-respect, respect others. Because what you wish for yourself should be what you wish for others. And therefore, in business, why would you cheat? If you want a farmer to harvest good maize, why do you give him fake input? So when you change your mind, respect yourself, respect others, that's a good lesson that we have learned from the SMU. From the SMU, we have also noted that people dream big, because people who dream achieve. And then be certain where you want to go. You must have that retirement house in your mind. You must have that car you want to drive in your mind. You must have a picture of how many employees you must have. You must have a plan. Where do I want to go? And how do I want to achieve it? And then the moment you have a dream, of course, dreams are achieved by money. But money, sometimes when someone talks about 20 million to buy a car, it seems big, but you can break that down. If you are a farmer, you can look at how many bunches of matoke do I need to raise 20 million. Then it comes closer to you. If you are a chicken farmer, how many trays of eggs do I need to sell per day? And before you know, your dream is a reality. We have also learned that when you have changed your mind, then you need the entrepreneurship spirit. I'm very glad Ronnie and company is here. They are gurus in entrepreneurship, therefore I may not have to talk much. But the little I have learned, especially from Ronald himself, that you must save, you must invest and grow wealth. That's the summary. And for you to save, you have to be very disciplined. Ronnie would take us through this on another day. Now, the principal talked about diligence. That will to be productive. When you wake up in the morning, are your hands itching that you should be doing something? Or you just want to pocket, move, and get freebies? That's not good. The other issue we have learned on entrepreneurship is frugality. You have to be frugal. My other brother has a concept called the water tank concept, that when you have 3 homes or 3 houses in a home, you must have gutters from each and every house leading to one tank. And that tank is your wallet. But the exit at the bottom is always small and very tight, meaning you don't just spend for the sake of it. You must spend on something that is multiplying your money. You also seek to solve challenges and versus accumulating money. Money makes life good, but money is not the ultimate. When you are doing business, sort of challenges, because that's what the society needs. And also seek knowledge. Like we are here now, everyone here is here to seek knowledge. Because there are so many experiences, people have gone through it. We are not reinventing the wheel. If we use the experiences of others, we shall become successful. We have also learned from SMU that agriculture is a very good area to invest in. We are told by the year 2030, the value of agribusiness only in Africa will be beyond 1 trillion US dollars. And therefore, if you have to make money, agriculture is one of the sectors to go to. We can note that in our country, Uganda, the services industry is expanding. People are leaving home, they are coming to the cities. Even me at home, my mother produced 7 of us, but we are no longer on the farm. We have got spouses and multiplied. We have children and bazukuru. No one is on the farm. All of us need food and we actually eat every day. And with the increasing affluence, you have to eat breakfast, break, tea, lunch, all of that is food. But what do you need when you go to farming business? One, that farming is a science. Consider the details of science, the genetics, which breed gives more milk, which banana plant gives a bigger bunch. How do I manage it? Which fertilizer and nutrients does it want? The water requirements. How do I manage the pests, etc.? Don't just go and farm the way we used to do. Farm with the head and not with the heart. This is a popular saying from our permanent Secretary General Kasula. The head means you have to put the calculation. Am I making money? The heart means you are either culture or hobby. You want to see your cows with big long horns. You want to count the numbers. That's not what to do in agriculture. You utilize expert knowledge. People have done research. They know these things. Use their knowledge, even if it means investing. That means paying some little money. Try low-cost technology. There are options of technology. For example, when you are using fertilizers, you can choose to go in organic fertilizer. But on your farm, let me combine it with the next point, especially if you are doing enterprise integration. You grow maize, but you also have dairy. Everything that comes from the dairy unit is fertilizer, so you cut the cost. Now, when you have your maize, when you have removed your grain, whatever has remained is actually feed for animals. So you are doing low cost, you are integrating, and you are enjoying the benefits. Add value. You are better off when we add value. I'm very happy our president currently is saying, over my dead body, no exporting raw materials. And he's very right. And you can start this value addition on the farm. For people who grow maize, sometimes maize grows, the prices drop as low as 300 shillings. But when the grain cost is 300, Kaunga, maize flour, is at 2,000. So who has stopped you from milling and selling Kaunga and getting more money? And then you have to leverage on information technology. We have seen growth in e-marketing. We have Gigi here. We have others. We have the ones which are from China, which are from America. People are marketing online. People are making deliveries now. And it is all based on information technology. This is the information age. We have moved from the Stone Age to the Green Revolution. Some people use the 4G for something, but this is the information age. You have to seek knowledge. You have to use those gadgets you have in your hands and leverage on them to get markets and buyers. Number 5, we have learned cooperation. I'm not going to talk much about cooperation because we have a whole Ministry of Cooperative and Trade. But it's good working together with your friends. It gives you social capital, but also other benefits. You are able to bulk, and when you are many, you are a big constituency. You can attract so many interests. You can do quality assurance together. You can do self-policing to ensure that none in your cooperative brings the fake. Recently, we ran a program with FAO. We taught people about value chain development. We taught people about the dangers of food, especially aflatoxin. And recently, I met one of the farmers who benefited from the training. And he said they have a cooperative and they have bought their milling machine. When you take their dirty maize, they will not accept. And he was saying, people say, but we take it to other mills and they mill. But the man he says they put foot on the ground. They say, for us, it is not just about making money, but we are caring about the people who are going to eat our food. So that comes from cooperation and learning. And this may be my last slide. We have learned about community transformation, community change. Now, we all work to make money, but money is not an ultimate. What we need is happy, beautiful communities, which people can come and visit, communities where people live in harmony. My colleague talked about it earlier. And you do that by working together as a group. People talk about selfishness. So when you have a school there, it is our school. When you have a road, it is our road.
It's the internet. Yes, ask them.
Ronnie, are we on?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I think we can wrap up and then we get back to end.
I'm wrapping up. So community selfishness, meaning you have to participate in transforming your community, the quality of life for everyone, not only your family, and grow as a community vis-a-vis as an individual. So there is also what we call eco-mindset, the environment. Have you cut all the trees in your village? When you grew up, you were breathing very good air from the bushes which were around. But now all the forests have gone, all the trees have gone. We have to bring them back. Littering, the quality of water, the quality of air, we have to be mindful of all of that. And that is done through we can do it ourselves. Government at Yambe, if you want to succeed, should be out of the question. Go to government to ask for big things. Don't go to government to ask for government to come and clean your small road. No. You should go to government to ask for a policy to allow you to take your coffee to Saudi Arabia. To ask for government to bring you electricity to mill your coffee, not just small things. And with those few words, once again, thank you, Mr. Ronnie. It's always glad meeting you. And I want to return back to the principal to do the final shots. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hellman, for that presentation. And I know time is not our side, but Ronald, you mentioned about how we do things at NFLC, National Farmer Leadership Center, Campings. Like you already said, our mandate is to train Ugandans like you on mindset change and modern agriculture technology. But there are small things, and for us, we believe in it that we change small things first. There are very, very important things I want to mention, which we do here, and you can also begin at your workplace, at your home, or where you have your business. We have talked about time management. We all know about that one. For us here at NFLC, managing time is key. And then two, we have kept our environment very, very clean. It is every person's responsibility to see that where you're working is neat. We don't litter anyhow. Then we have this thing of dining etiquette. I want to tell you, my brothers and sisters, in Uganda today, there are times when you have bumper harvest, we waste a lot of food. Then there are seasons when there is no food. Then also we can have a scenario whereby one part of the country has plenty to eat and the other country doesn't have. So for us, we are saying, first of all, in the dining, we have a slogan that for you to eat, you should have what? Worked. And we're saying not just to work, but at least you have to work for every meal, you should work for 4 hours. Like, for example, us now here, we are working. And when we clock 4 hours, then we shall qualify to what? To eat. I want to emphasize this, when you go back home, much of the resources are put in food. Even here, we say when you go to the dining, it is self-service. Or even if a person is serving you, he should give you one plate. That one we have achieved. So when I normally visit some friends of mine, when you go to their homes, you find children, they are not working. They just wake up to brush, bathe, then to the dining to eat. After that, they go and do other things which are not really productive. And then also, too, when they are eating, you find that they waste a lot of food. And I talked about responsible parenting. You find in a home the maids are doing everything and the children are just seated. Those are the children you are going to give your business says tomorrow and they will collapse them. So you have really to train. Then also these things of roles and responsibilities is also very, very important. The organogram, the structure. In a business, you have the business structure. Let it be clear who's responsible for what. Everyone should know his role, not people crisscrossing. That one comes because of lack of either training and coaching. So those are the few things we can add on, but I want to thank you for giving us this time. It is our first time to have a presentation here. Most of us here, we are agriculturists, and we are talking to different types and caliber of people, but we pray that we have tried our level best. And when we open for discussion, I normally look at this as adult learning. It might not be that we are the only ones to give the answers, but we can go into sharing. You can also add, you can subtract, and where we are also sure, we shall make additions. Thank you very much. Back to Mr. Mukasa.
Thank you so much, Bwana John, for that candid, and Bwana Hillman for that candid conversation. Very insightful topics, very insightful conversation. I am getting quite a bit of feedback from the chat box with people saying, thank you for the wonderful conversation, awesome presentation. We surely need a mindset change. That's from Audrey. I like the small practical things you shared. Jennifer reiterated what you said. You have to work in order to eat. Powerful message. I see Emmanuel here saying thank you, Director Okwaja and Hillman, and says he has a question here, and possibly we'll take a couple of questions. Emmanuel's question is: any success stories in this country of how people have broken barriers you have spoken about, like sectarianism, while using this model? So you could just talk about the people you have worked with and how that transformation has worked. And then he says, have we tried to check if Rwanda is utilizing the model to actually promote meritocracy rather than mediocrity based on politics we see in the country? That's the question from Bwana Emma Safari. Yes, Ibrahim says, we appreciate the presentation. Susan says, thank you so much for the presentation, gentlemen. I see Stephen saying, thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. Martin says, wow, happiness is a goal of all goals. Great presentation. Stuart says, great presentation. Thank you. Samuel goes ahead to say, we can achieve more beyond the 1 trillion under the agricultural productivity if we focus on value addition. That is Samuel's comment. Donald says, do you have the content translated in local languages like Acholi? I think this is a question to you, Bwana John. Can people access this content in their local languages? Good question there, Bwana Chen. Samuel says, thank you thank you so much, JB, for this presentation. Kindly share the content. We'll share the content on your email. We'll send through the presentation after the call. Gonsha is from, yes, Dr. Gonsha, glad to see you from Expert Care Pharmacy. Her key takeaways is take time seriously, have a mindset of making your own solutions. Powerful. Thank you, Dr. Gonsha. I see Mary saying, thank you so much. John, is it possible to get the content? Yes, the content will be shared. I think Martin has a similar question. Whether we'll share the content? Yes, it will be. David says, thank you, John Bosco, for the presentation, for the rich presentation. Shall we access it individually on the email? Yes, you will. Then Moses asks, how can someone attain training at the institution? And again says, thank you for the powerful words. Yes, also Jalia says, thank you for the wonderful presentation. I missed the saying in the Korean dining hall. What was it? Yes, I think, Wala John, you can repeat that saying, that is right in your dining hall. And then I see Dennis saying, hello, anyone who can link me to a solar dryer? Yes, I think Dennis has, if you are in the solar space, please do respond to Dennis's question. We have an opportunity to take some questions. You can put up your hand and ask. But in the meantime, John, Neilmat, you could respond to those questions which we have just given.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bwana Ronald, for moderating this presentation. And also we want to thank our participants for the good audience and for the good questions you're asking. This one really shows that you've been very, very attentive. Maybe to begin with the dining slogan, the one which is in the dining. In my presentation, we are going to attach it, but we basically say, do not eat to eat, but eat to work. Is the network okay? Are you getting it, Ronald?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We can hear you.
Yeah, but we're saying do not eat to eat, but eat to what? To work. If you don't want to work, then you don't have to what? To eat. Work at least 4 hours. For what? Each meal. So the message in the dining is that before we eat, we should be seen working. We should first of all work for every meal we're going to take. That is the message. But this slogan, we shall send it to you. And then the other questions, how we have broken the barriers. There is one thing we also didn't mention here is our program at NFLC. If we have trainees, our program begins at 5 in the morning and we go to bed at 11 in the night. And 5 in the morning, we begin with the exercises. We do some drills because we have a belief here that your health is the most important. Because if you fall sick, if you become weak, you will not manage that business. And these exercises are not vigorous. They are really, we do it according to your ability. And always when people come, we begin slowly, but we keep improving as they get used to. So people have given testimonies because of that. Some people were diabetic, they were having problems with depression and so on. They have given stories. Then after the morning exercise, we go for farm work. That is the work we're talking about. And we have a belief here that everyone in Uganda can do farming. Even you in your small home, if you come here, we have backyard gardens. You'll be in position to produce these vegetables that you eat in the kitchen. So we have a timetable. Today they can go to poultry, the next day they go to piggery, another day they go for horticulture. Then after that, we go to class. And then in the evening, we do action planning, evaluation, and so on, and we close the day. And people have given what? Have given testimonies. You've talked about value addition focus. This is very, very important. And I want to encourage people here that, there are challenges of doing business in agriculture. Okay? And there are challenges which are beyond our control, like issues of climate change, pest and disease, and then maybe the quality of inputs we have here. But what I want to encourage, if you have money and you invested in value addition, for example, processing, packaging. Like the maize, people complain that the maize, the prices keep dropping. The person who mainly complain is the local farmer who's producing. But if someone picked up and said, no, let me buy this maize from the farmers, I do value addition. And then, of course, when you do value addition, the price will increase and you will sell. When you do that, you will provide market to the local farmer in your community, and you will be happy. And we have already said here the issue of integrity and trust. You don't do with the intention of cheating them. You tell them that what we do, bring all the maize, I process, I sell at a fair price, and then you also get good profits. So I will encourage people here that farming is not necessarily the aspect of only producing and production and productivity. No, you can come in at different levels of the value chain. For you can decide to say, let me do the what? The processing and value addition, and let the local people do the planting. But also, if your business picks up and you've gotten enough money and you're adding value to maize, why not acquire more land? Why not also begin growing maize on a large scale? Because you'll need more. Yeah, that is very, very good. Then someone said we look at Rwanda on the issue of merit. My brother, the benchmarking of Rwanda is really true. Even when we're in Korea, we saw this. Those Koreans have kept on saying, why is it that Rwanda is taking off seriously? And to tell you the truth, when you visit Rwanda, they also say in Uganda, we have very good policies. And Rwanda, what for them they have done, they have picked our policies, and for them they have what? They have implemented. And they are moving on well. And we are all government. There is no, people keep saying that government. But I'm sure most of the people who are here are senior people. And we are government, and we're the ones to provide answers to these questions. It is our responsibility. This is our country. We need a joint effort to transform this country and to transform society. And it begins with your business. If we're talking about meritocracy, are you really implementing it at your place of work? In your business, are you bringing people on what? On merit. So it is, what I can only say is that one, we need a joint what? Effort. Allow me also call Mr. Ilman to react on that.
Thank you, Mr. Principal. Members, someone asked about if this model is working anywhere. I can tell you when we started our trainings, we have worked with some communities, test the model. And there are some examples here in Mpiji and in the villages which are actually implementing the Saemul Undong model. Like he said, in Kayunga, in Mitiana, in Mpiji here, in Fort Poto. Even of late, we trained a group from the north. I think Gulu, from Omoro. And they are beautiful stories because this self-help concept, people reach home, they look around themselves and start helping themselves. They work on community roads, they work on water sources, they start producing together, and life is improving. Then in addition to, again, what has been said, one of the mindsets as Ugandans we need is the respect for laws and regulations. You see, these respects are not put for anyone else, they are put for us and to create order. But when we are guided, we just, we don't take it serious. But there are a lot of well-intentioned laws, regulations, guidelines, which we must follow. And in business, they also apply. I know, for example, business people are always against taxation. But for sure, taxation is not a bad idea. It is supposed to improve the welfare of the country. Leave alone issues of corruption and all that, like someone said, corruption is rooted in the society, and it is not only leaders that are corrupt, even us in our homes, in our institutions, everywhere. Once again, I want to thank you for listening. And please, we are going to leave our contacts. Contact us individually, and we shall give guide on how to get trainings here. But we prefer when you are a group and when you are able to cater for whatever we shall provide, meals and a few things here and there. We are not a profit-making organization, and we have been in discussions with government to give us funding so we go full scale and reach you, but we are apparently limited, but we cannot see it. We have to find people like you who are able to do some contribution, and then we come and we share this knowledge. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Hillman. Back to you, Mr. Mukasa. I'm seeing there is a hand up from, I don't know whether I have the power
Safari,
to allow.
please go ahead and ask your question.
Okay.
Safari, are you there?
I'm seeing,
Yes.
I think, Emmanuel Sanyo.
Yes. Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Mukasa, for allowing me, because I was unmuted at first. Yes, I've listened to a very good presentation from Mr. Okwaja and team.
Yes, Safari, are you there?
Am I audible?
Yes, Mr. Safari is I'm getting you. It is clear, Mr. Ronald. It's
Yes.
okay. Emmanuel, you are clear and loud. Go ahead.
Mr. Mukasa, I hope you're also getting me as well. Anyway, my question.
I can hear you, Safari.
Okay. So I would just want to thank once again to Mr. Okwaja for pushing this SMU model, Saemul Undong, model for South Korea, because these models actually are what changed the Asian tigers. And for me, as a promoter of insurance, I actually see, and it has also been benchmarked as one of those countries that utilized insurance to help their citizens bounce back whenever any of those issues happen. But my question hasn't been answered. I wanted to know, if you're saying you're just going to come and train people, I don't know if you can monitor them for how long. If it is about transformation, how would you spend with time in that community to see tangible results? That is why I was asking for tangible examples, because I think this is more or less what government keeps talking about, Ntandikwa scheme, but it is actually not sustainable if someone just comes and trains you from the outside and they think that you will go on. The barriers you mentioned, things like nepotism, secretarianism, just the lazy habits we are seeing, greed, actually what killed these kind of models, because there is no cultural transformation from the very top. Whether it is at the LC level, everyone is looking to reap and steal your ideas and actually get money from your whatever project. Whether it is farming, the middleman will always want to steal your produce or hike those costs, such that you find actually the middlemen are the ones who actually profiteering from this, from the farmers, let me say. So for me, I wanted to see an actual tangible community where you can say, we were with these people, we handheld them for 1 year, and they moved, and they are now by themselves. Because you mentioned that there's no religion and all that, but if you trace down this community spirit, it's actually traced from Acts chapter 2, verses 37. The Christian community set up. Actually, for us, the Catholics, we have what we call Kabondo. And Kabondo spirit is good. Okay, you eat and gather as members, but if you have development projects, these things can be enhanced to develop this country. As I mentioned, a case study is Rwanda. We have failed to do something like that because Rwanda has community engagements on a monthly basis, and they actually account and make sure that all the service providers, all the authorities like policemen, all hospitals, nurses, anyone who asks for a bribe is going to account for it or will have to lose his job. So these development, we see this. For me, I'm asking for those kind of tangible examples. Since you have had interactions with government, why are they not doing that and copying just our neighbors. Don't go so far to South Korea. South Korea is far, and it moved on. It made that decision in 1970, as you have mentioned. They have done a lot and changed over time because they are of that promoting of meritocracy, not mediocrity, that I'm seeing in this political class in this country. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe let me react on that one very, very fast from my brother Safari. My brother Safari, what you should know, my humble request is that change, mindset change and transforming community is a gradual process. And I normally tell people, one of the signs of development is when people begin discussing. Like when you begin saying we have not taken off, or we have taken off, why are we slow? When those discussions keep coming, like when I give you examples in our neighbors, there are countries where these things have not even started. They are just there. So it is a gradual process, but these simple things we're emphasizing, we're talking about, it should be a joint responsibility for all of us. And it will take us time, but we shall get where we want to be. Even Korea, by the way, it took them time. And with the radical decisions, I've told you that President Park was a dictator. Some things had to be what? To be forced. And then you're talking of villages and the institutions of people who have trained. I have a few of them, but when you get enough time, we shall have more discussion. There is a village here in Mpigi called the Kumbia village. We have ever trained those people here under the ESMV project. But those people, after training them here on mindset change, they went back and sat and came up with resolutions on how to transform their community. And for them, they looked at agriculture and the environment. So their farming improved. And when they improved, their farming in coffee, and currently as we talk, they have a coffee processing plant. They are doing validation addition in coffee. And then also they have a cooperative, they have a circle, they are saving. And when you go to that Kumbia village, it's just off Kamingo. When you visit that area, you will see that the lives of the people, even the village itself, is unique. And even if you visit these ESMV villages in Mpigi here, in Mitiana and Mpigi, you really see tangible things. And then the other one, we have ever trained the youth under FL on entrepreneurship and what. And these youth are giving testimony. There is even one in Kalangala that is owning big chunks of land. And he's doing what? Doing farming. And for him, his success story says the mindset, when he was put down and talked to, he has taken off. Then even of recent, we trained the members of the Law Reform Commission. And the members of the Law Reform Commission, they had a challenge at the place of work of the negative mindset, where people really were not taking work seriously. But when they came here and were here for a week, they have gone back, they have called me, they have written to us, and they are saying they are seeing positive what? Positive results. So what is very important for us, they are good. But we have to, it might not be me, it might not be that government people think, but it's the responsibility of all Ugandans. That's why I was telling you that for even to do business in the society, if that society and that community is poor, you're not going to succeed. Instead, they are going to begin fighting you. Thank you. We have the hand from Mr. Charles Lago, then we shall hear from Maureen, those two first. Please unmute and go ahead to ask your questions.
Charles,
Hello?
please go ahead and unmute.
Ronald,
Charles and Maureen. Charles, please ask your question. Charles, Maureen.
Hello?
Yes,
Ronald,
Yes, Charles, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, Ronald and Enterprise Uganda. Thank you.
I can hear you, Charles.
Thank you, Ronald. Thank you, Enterprise Uganda. Thank you, the leadership of NF LC for the nice presentation. The issue of dependency syndrome, the issue of helplessness, the issue of fatalistic syndrome among our communities is real. I come from West Nile, particularly Moyo, and these issues are there with our communities. So for me, my question is, how can we work together with the leadership of NFLC so that we can kickstart the mindset change, mindset transformation in my area? We can even say, we can take, say, for example, a county, and then embracing the Saemul spirits, so that we start the process, because these politicians have spoiled everybody. They go there, they give 1,000, 2,000. So the people are in that syndrome. So this is real, and I think it is very, very it is detrimental to the community, because now they rely on handouts, because that's what the politicians, it helps them to buy votes. So, but the Saemul spirit could help to do this. So now my question to Principal and your team is, how can we work together so that we start a program in Moyo? I am ready to follow up with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lagu. Maureen, please go ahead and ask your question. Maureen, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for a good presentation, and also good thinking of a very huge paradigm shift, which we all need. I work with Goody Leisure Farm. I'm the Chief Operations Officer. And as a farm, we have tried to enable the youth by having them create what we call Pella Entrepreneurship Learning Association. So the youth at ground level come together to be enterprising. But what we discover is a challenge all through Uganda is that we have not got a proper enabling environment for them. If you go to your village right now, you can find there's a lot of increase in noise pollution. Brothels are held and they are open. Drug consumption is on the increase. And this same youth whom we are trying to encourage to join the mindset change are the same ones who are the thieves, the ones stealing the scrap metal and so forth. So I think we as a team, or rather even the leadership, need to look into how we can disenable the current environment of laxity, of people doing whatever they want. Long time ago, we used to have the community governing the people. If a child is found on the street when it's time to be in school, the community had the right to discipline that child. You're not supposed to be here. But now that sense of community, of responsibility has gone away, where even if someone is found on the road drinking or whatever it is, no one is questioning. So if we are to embrace what the Koreans have done, then we also need to check what we are doing as a country, especially in regard to noise pollution, brothels, and drugs, and so forth. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Maureen. Donald, please go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, my question is, you have very wonderful content, but you first. Come on.
Donald, we seem to have left you for a minute. Yes, please, go ahead.
You have very excellent content, but do we have it translated in the local languages?
Yes. Thank you, Donald. I think Prince will work on that question. I wanted to ask both these questions so that you have one final round to answer them. There is a question from Cuthbert. If an individual is if I'm interested individually to train, is it possible? That's the question from Baguma. Initiatives begin with individuals as prime movers. I think I totally agree, Cuthbert. I see Moses. Moses says, thank you so much for the session. Very insightful, yes. I also have a very disturbing question. My name is Moses. Moses, I don't know whether your hand is up. I see more. Yes, Maureen. I think Maureen, you have asked the question. Then Jude asks, is the Saemul Undong model, has it been incorporated in the Korean national education curriculum? Bwana John, you can answer that question. We also have a comment here from Julius. Julius says, the presenter is bashing youth for talk of government problems, government. We should not be ignorant of the leaders and the led have different motives. Are you aware that there are cartels, for instance, in the coffee sector, value addition costs will be high if the farmer is given hard conditions to grow coffee, like the recent coffee bill? And you say that, you say
on WhatsApp.
government is doing every export, even exporting your value-added product tends to be a challenge, accessing foreign markets, because some leaders in the industry don't want citizens in similar businesses to access such markets. So I think the point which is being made by Julius here is that sometimes the environment is tough, and I think possibly, Bwana John, you can comment on the environment. So you can go ahead and answer those questions, and then we can wrap up because our time has run out.
Thank you. I'm going to attempt to answer one or two, and then my colleague will add. Dr. Abu, it's good to know you are aware. I know you really made good contribution on the agriculture sector, and I know you have a good knowledge of how the ground is. It is true, dependent syndrome has grown, but the most important thing is that we need unique leaders who can come up and do things different. And I'm glad you already have that mindset. So we can indeed work together. And you as a senior person, you can also lead by example from wherever you are. I know people are desperate. That's why they run to politicians for help. But change of mind is crucial, because people need to, like in my first slide, people need to understand their potential and their uniqueness. And it really takes leaders like me and you to give them back the hope. We can work together. You understand us so well. Even anyone else, we shall share the contact. Please, if you feel you have a community, including Doreen, of youth who are being misled, how I wish out of your resources we can work together, and we have those youth for 1 week here at NFLC. They really go back when they are really changed. It is true, these vices are everywhere, even on social media. When you go through the media now, TikTok, WhatsApp, the talk really, most of it, maybe 80% is not content which can develop someone. People are in improving the size of their buttocks. People are in attracting men. People are in what? But really, that's not what that's not, fine, we want, but that's not the major. We shall work together, Madam Doreen. Good enough for the principal is here. We shall have a discussion with you. We shall find how we can get some of you, the youth, to NFLC. And if resources are really very limiting, then we can also see how to get some of our resource persons to come to you and discuss. About the translation, we have really not translated, but every time we have a training, we make sure that the beneficiary really, and so the beneficiaries have been from the catchment around here, that is in PG and the other neighboring places. We ensure that at least we have translation for those people who cannot speak the local language. But what we also need to know is that NFLC is a relatively new institution. It was handed over to government of Uganda in 2016. We have been undergoing some transition of our own, but we have a big vision, we have big dreams, we are expanding, and before long, everyone will know about us and how we wish that everyone gets a chance to benefit from the training that we have. Thank you so much for now. I'll hand over to Principal.
Thank you, Mr. Hillman. Thank you, everyone that has asked a question. And Mr. Lagu, thank you for being very positive. Like Deputy Hillman has said, you have our numbers. Just we're going to inbox one another and we see how to work together in Moyo. But already we have trained some people in Omoro. Now, there is this issue of if an individual wants to visit the institution, if he wants to be trained individually, yes, we have said we're a government institution and we're not a profit-making organization. If you came to NFLC as an individual, there are instructors here that will take you through. But what is very important, you will have to communicate to us, and then we shall program and plan for you. And when you come as an individual, we shall take you free of charge. The only charges we charge people here is when you come here like for a week. So you have to pay for accommodation and pay for mainly the meals. But otherwise, if you come for one day and you are few people and you have informed us on time, we will get you taken through. Then too, Madam Maureen also, again, we even move. If you have an organization, if you have a community and you require our services, you just write to us. And when you write to the principal, clearly even identify the areas where you have the challenges. We'll get the team that will reach you. And if our budget allows, we shall use government resources. If it doesn't allow, we can request, we shall ask you to what? To support. Then also the question I did not answer is about the issue of monitoring, evaluation during doing follow-up. It is good, Deputy Hillman has mentioned that the institution is still young. It was given to us in 2016, but all of this we're putting in place in our plan. But currently, the people who have trained, we have always followed them. We have visited them and then even invited some. And sometimes even when we have trainees here, we invite them to give success stories. We even invite some to come and teach. And then even if there is a community that is doing well, when we have trainees here, like for example, the farmers, I've talked about the Kumbia village. We take these farmers to see that these people came to us, we trained them, you see what they are doing. And we leave them to interact with them. And they will tell you that success stories, they will tell you what they did to reach where they are. And then there is someone who has mentioned about government. Me as an individual, I normally tell my colleagues that lamenting sometimes might not help us. We have to find a way of addressing challenges. For example, we're talking about the challenge of coffee we have. For us here, like we have looked at Korea, we are saying for them, they emphasize the people working in the form of communities, in the form of cooperatives. If people settle down and be in small groups that are very organized and recognized, their views also will be listened to. But the problem, people are disjointed. People are complaining as individuals. And when you go deep into that person, you'll find that to a certain level is not what? Serious. For example, we have a body that controls coffee in the country. We have cooperatives that are producing coffee. Really, if they air their views through the right channels, then they can be listened to. Madam Maureen also talked about the youth engagement. What I want to tell you, my sister, in the world of today, everyone likes to do what he or she feels is right. And most of the organizations we have for the youth, or even at home, we have forced some of these young people to do things they don't like. And when I was in Korea, they also said they had that challenge. All the young generation had abandoned farming and they had moved to urban centers. So it was a deliberate move by government to sit down and come up with a policy that is going to encourage the young people to go back to farming. Like right now also they are developing a policy which is going to encourage young people to get married and produce. Because now the ratio of old people to young people in Korea, the old people are many. It is the reverse here in Uganda. They are many and they are what? They are worried. So what for them they discovered is that in Korea, their technology is too high. So they had to bring the issue of technology into farming and what we call smart farming. Farming using a computer, farming using a phone, farming using a greenhouse. Now the youth started appreciating and the government supported them seriously and they are going into farming now. So what I'm trying to say, we might not go to that level. Korea is highly developed, but it should be us to sit down and think, what do we think we can do and to encourage these children or these young people to take up farming and leave these things that waste their time like betting and so on. And that answer I might not provide, but it needs you and me to sit and think. We have to think for these people. And the good thing with the developed world, for them, they plan 10 or 20 years ahead. And I think that's what we are lacking. And then, when you have these farmer groups, like Lagua said in Moyo and what, this institution can connect you because it's a government institution. We can bring you closer to government. Then also we have partners like the Korean government through KOICA. If we identify that there is a group, a farming group in a certain district, a farming group of the young people, and really what they are doing is there, we can connect you to our partners and we see how to help these people. And the good thing about the Korean people, for them, they like the capacity building. First of all, they train you. And then after training you, when they realize that you are now able, then now they bring the support. And even the support will come in what? In kind. For them, if you want inputs, they will give you. If you want a processing mill or plant, they will give it to you. So these are very, very brilliant ideas. And please, we are going to give you also our website. You can Google. And then also when you have time, you can visit us at the institution. Translating the content into the local languages, we are now working on the standardized training manual, which I think by the end of this year, we shall have a copy. And when we have a copy, it will be there in our website. And then I think that's when we shall begin now the aspect of what? Of translation, so that you can get the literature and read. But like what Mr. Hillman has said, we try our level best because the people we bring here, most of them are farmers. So if they do not understand the language, the English, we get the translators. So briefly, my colleague Ronald, that's what I wanted to share with you. But most importantly, through this interaction, we have learned a lot. And for us, whenever we have interactions like this, and even when people come here, we give them room to evaluate us. So whatever you have mentioned, and we have also seen it is important and is lacking in our area. Like, for example, you have talked about translating the content into local languages, and then also finding a way of working with the districts. All of that we have captured. And I pray, I don't know how we are going to get the numbers like the one of Mr. Lagu and Madame Morin, so that we continue interacting. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Lovely. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much, Bwana John, for those submissions. I see one hand which is still hanging up. Moses, do you want to quickly ask your question and then wrap up?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, Moses, please go ahead.
Moses is muted. Maybe let him unmute.
My
Moses, go ahead. Unmute, please.
We have a very disturbing situation whereby the local varieties of seeds have been being eradicated, and we have most of the seeds we're having genetically modified crops, and so much. So we see that the GMOs are really affecting our lives, and so much is happening. Even the soils, when you do much research on them, you find that even the soil, so much is happening, and we become dependent, whereby if you plant, for example, the maize, we used to have, you plant it this season and then plant it even the next season. But today, when you buy maize from the shops, it is very hard to repeat the same process. So what advice and how can we fight this, or what knowledge could you give us upon this? Because it is really affecting all the African nations. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Moses. Brother John, I think you will respond to that question and also share your final remarks.
Thank you, Ronnie. And thank you for the question, Mr. Tumsime. As far as I know, we do not have GMOs in Uganda so far. We have some improved varieties, some hybrids, which have been developed to respond to a number of challenges. What research does is to research to respond to a certain constraint. For example, if the crop types we have around become vulnerable to certain pests and diseases, they do research to respond to response to diseases. Or if productivity is low, for example, if you have a millet or maize which yields very little and yet food demand is high, they may do research to bring something which is high yielding. And apparently, I don't know if there is anyone from Naro listening in, he can add. Apparently, we are using the breeding methods which are approved, which are not bringing GMOs on board. And I know there was even an attempt to pass a law on GMOs to give researchers the leeway to also develop new technology, but I think it was not passed. But what we need to know is that other countries, for them, they have invested in developing GMOs, and for the same reason, to solve existing constraints, for example, in view of climate change. But we don't have GMOs yet in Uganda. But I also want to tell you that our research system has interventions in place and projects to save or to maintain our indigenous seed varieties. I know, for example, there is a project, a whole big project in Naro, working on indigenous vegetables like nakati, like dodo, trying to preserve them. And also, there is a project about genetic resources, which is also preserving what we have so that we don't lose it. So when you go to the market, all you need to be armed with is information. Don't just buy because you have heard someone talking, but take your time, inquire about the maize you are buying, whether it is you are going to be able to plant the seed you will harvest, or if it is for one season. If you buy tomatoes, same. So, Mr. Tumusime, arm yourself with information and find out the truth, because this information is available. Try to reach the technical people, they will always guide. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Hillman. And then also to our brother Moses, we have a facilitator here called Dr. Mwesigwa from Naro. He normally says that some of these challenges might not be because of the seed and what. And he says, you see, for example, people still depend on nature. You plant and wait for the rains. But there are always three things he has mentioned here, that is the mindset and the message that should go to our farmers. He says that you see, the crops do not need the soils, but they need nutrients. So where you are planting, the soil you are planting, you have to first to ensure that the nutrients are there. You know, our soils now are exhausted. They have lost the fertility. So the aspect of nutrient is very important. Then he says it too again, soils do not need rainfall, but they need water. So by the time you're planting, you have to ensure that the soil has got enough what? Moisture content. So these are some of these are the things. And even he says that also they don't need sunshine, they need light. So these are the things people are still believing in that time whereby we're depending on nature. But seasons, the soils, everything has changed. And I want again to emphasize, colleagues who are here, if you are to do farming, there are technical people at the sub-county level. And even right now, there is a discussion to have extension staff up to the parish level. But information which is there is that, okay, these people are complaining they are not working. But they also say it would be better if farmers also showed interest in being in groups and then they call them to train them. So when you want a seed to plant, and by the way, seeds are not just bought anyhow, that you buy from Kampala, then you take to Teso and plant. You buy from Teso, then you take to the West. Try to get the services and the advice of the technical people at the sub-county. Those people are willing to help you if you visit them. Thank you. Mr. Ronald, you are the one controlling the meeting. Moses has come up. Maybe there's something he wants to.
All right.
Moses, maybe let's have Moses, a quick one with Moses.
Hello. All right.
Maybe he forgot to leave his hand up.
Great.
So
I think our time has. Yes. I think what we are going to do is we may want to call Mr. Mwesiga for a session on this whole GMO and how to do a bit of more modern agriculture. And I will make sure I put that in my list of sessions to do so that we have an exhaustive conversation on the same. But Bwana Director, just want to take a minute and just give us a final comment to the audience, and then we can wrap up.
Yeah, thank you, Bwana Ronald. Once again, I want to thank the audience, the people who turned up for this presentation, and I want to thank Enterprise Uganda, and in a special way, Mr. Mukasa Ronald, because he's the one who has been working with us, and he's the one who has approached us. We are really grateful, and like I've said, our mandate is to train all of you on mindset change and agriculture. And the institution is a government institution. Even right now, government is beginning to give us money to train. But we're working on the criteria on how to identify the person who's to be trained. And also I've told you, it's not that you only have to come to NFLC. You can even organize yourselves and then we get to you. And even as an individual, you can always visit us.
Thank you so much.
And
Hello.